U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has issued a sharp warning to India amid growing trade tensions with Washington. He urged India to support its biggest client as trade relations sour and tariffs strain economic ties with the U.S. The warning came just as U.S. President Donald Trump claimed India and Russia had been lost to China after the SCO Summit. Lutnick reportedly said that India must open its markets, stop Russian oil imports, and distance itself from BRICS. He said India must either back the U.S. dollar and American trade or face crushing 50% tariffs on exports. Lutnick predicted India will resume trade talks within months, saying businesses will push Modi back to the table. He added Washington is always open to talks, but insisted India must say sorry and return with concessions. The remarks fueled concern that India's closer ties with Moscow and Beijing could redraw strategic alignments. Lutnick criticized India's growing reliance on Russian crude, which has soared from 2% to nearly 40% of imports. Remember, relations have deteriorated since Trump imposed the tariff earlier this year over India's Russian oil purchases. New Delhi has dismissed the move as unfair and noted China faces no such penalties despite larger Russian imports.
To Europe, Africa, and Asia. It's strictly profiteering by the Indian refining industry, big oil. Now, think about India when you think about the tariffs we're putting in place. 25% because they cheat us on trade, 25% because of the Russian oil. I ask you this, what is the net impact on the Americans because of our trade with India? Well, let's think about it. They have higher tariffs, there are Maharaja tariffs, higher non-tariff barriers. We run a massive trade deficit with them, so that hurts American workers, hurts American businesses. Then they use the money that they get from us when they sell us stuff to buy Russian oil, which then is processed by refiners, and they make a bunch of money there. But then the Russians use the money to build more arms and kill Ukrainians, and so American taxpayers have to provide more aid, military style, to the Ukrainians. So that's insane. The situation is very interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February of 22, India bought virtually no Russian oil. Let me say it again. Prior to the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, India bought virtually no Russian oil. I mean, it was like 1% of their needs. So the argument somehow now, as the percentage has gone up to like 30 and 35%, that somehow they need Russian oil to cool their homes or cook or drive their cars is nonsense. And what I do in the Financial Times article is I illustrate how Russian refiners have gotten in bed with Italian refiners in a game in which they get cheap Russian crude, follow me here, they get crude at a discount, and then they make refined products which they sell at premium prices into Europe, Africa, and Asia. It's strictly profiteering by the Indian refining industry, big oil. Now, think about India when you think about the tariffs we're putting in place. 25% because they cheat us on trade, 25% because of the Russian oil. I ask you this, what is the net impact on the Americans because of our trade with India? Well, let's think about it. They have higher tariffs, there are Maharaja tariffs, higher non-tariff barriers. We run a massive trade deficit with them, so that hurts American workers, hurts American businesses. Then they use the money that they get from us when they sell us stuff to buy Russian oil, which then is processed by refiners, and they make a bunch of money there. But then the Russians use the money to build more arms and kill Ukrainians, and so American taxpayers have to provide more aid, military style, to the Ukrainians. So that's insane. And President Trump sees that chessboard beautifully, and you guys need to write about that. That's what's going on there. And in many ways, the road to peace runs through New Delhi. And so that's the answer to that. Okay, who is next?
So sticking with India, EWTN, Owens and Global Catholic Network.
Okay.
Okay, so following up on that question, India.
Yeah.
The doubling of tariffs to 50% is supposed to take place August 27th, just 6 days from now.
Yes.
Do you see that taking place?
I see that taking place. India doesn't appear to want to recognize its role in the bloodshed. It simply doesn't. It's cozying up to Xi Jinping is what it's doing. It's not And by the way, I wrote that article in the FT just to deal with the propaganda of the Indian government to make people want to feel sorry for them. Oh, they need the oil. They don't need the oil. It's a refining profiteering scheme. It's a laundromat for the Kremlin. That's the reality of that. So I love India. Look, Modi's a great leader, but please, India, look at what your role here is in the global economy and good here. It's like what you're doing right now is not creating peace, it's perpetuating the war. I'm going to take two more and then I got stuff to do. Let's go here, hang on, here, and then please let me move on. I've given you generous amounts of time. Yes, ma'am.
So have the trade talks between U.S. and India been cancelled that was slated for later this month?
I have no visibility on that. You have to talk to the USTR about that.
And China still continues to be the #1 exporter of crude oil from Russia. Why have they been?
We have 50%. We have 50% tariffs on China already. So.
Right, but they have been given a secondary tariff.
Yes, ma'am.
You alluded to Chairman Powell giving a big speech tomorrow in Jackson Hole.
Yeah, who are you with? Just so I know.
Betsy Klein with CNN.
CNN, okay.
What is the White House hoping to hear from that speech tomorrow?
Hope is not a strategy, okay? We don't hope anything with Jay Powell. He's a lost cause. But I've said repeatedly that the best thing that can happen is that the other members of the Board of Governors get religion on this. I said that before the last meeting, and sure enough, two of them dissented for the first time since the 1990s. We'll get Steve Mirren in there. He'll be a strong voice. Look, we got to stop this partisan crap, okay? This is about America.